All right, before we get into aliens and demons, let's settle this. Who wins in a fight, Superman or the Hulk?
This again? It's obviously.
The government spent 70 years telling us UFOs were weather balloons and swamp gas. Now they're testifying under oath about non-human craft in our skies. Something massive has changed, and today we're diving into what that means.
You know what's fascinating about this shift? It's not just that they're admitting these things exist, it's the timing of it all. Why now, after decades of denial?
Well, I think there are a few key factors at play. First, we've got multiple military pilots coming forward with radar data and infrared footage that can't be easily dismissed. These aren't just blurry photos anymore.
And these aren't just random pilots either. We're talking about highly trained observers with decades of experience.
Exactly. In the 2023 hearings, David Grush testified under oath about recovered non-human craft. That's unprecedented. When I was a kid reading UFO books, this kind of official acknowledgement was pure fantasy.
Let's talk about some of the specific capabilities these craft are displaying. The data shows them performing maneuvers that should be physically impossible, right?
The numbers are mind-blowing. We're seeing objects accelerate from hovering to hypersonic speeds instantly. We're talking about 0 to 13,000 miles per hour with no sonic boom. Our best aircraft can't even approach those capabilities.
And they're apparently moving seamlessly between air and water, which defies everything we know about aerospace engineering.
Here's what really gets me. These objects are being tracked on multiple sensors simultaneously. Radar, infrared, visual confirmation. That rules out a lot of the usual explanations like equipment malfunction or pilot error.
You know, this reminds me of something interesting in ancient texts. The Sumerians described beings who came from the sky in flying vessels, with capabilities that sound remarkably similar.
Oh no, please tell me we're not going full ancient aliens here. Though I have to admit, the similarities in descriptions across isolated ancient cultures are intriguing.
Think about it objectively. If advanced beings visited Earth thousands of years ago, how would ancient people describe their technology? They'd use the only reference points they had.
That's actually a fascinating point. When Arthur C. Clarke said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, he was talking about exactly this kind of scenario.
And now we're seeing modern military pilots describing objects that seem equally magical by our current technological standards.
You know what's really interesting? The Pentagon has confirmed that these objects demonstrate technology that exceeds the next 50 to 100 years of human advancement. That's a direct quote from their report.
So here's my question. If these things have been here all along, why haven't they made official contact?
Well, there's an interesting theory about that from Dr. Avi Loeb at Harvard. He suggests that advanced civilizations might treat us the way we treat less developed species, observe from a distance to avoid interfering with natural development.
That would explain the seemingly observational nature of these encounters. They appear to be studying us rather than trying to communicate.
And look at how they're choosing to reveal themselves. Gradually, over decades, allowing our understanding to evolve slowly. It's almost like they're following a careful protocol.
That ties into what some researchers call the disclosure process, a deliberate, phased approach to preventing societal panic.
The data actually supports this. We've seen a steady increase in both sightings and official acknowledgement over the past 75 years. It's like a slow acclimation process.
And now we're reaching what could be a tipping point, with official government confirmation and serious scientific study.
Speaking of scientific study, Harvard's Galileo project is now actively searching for these objects, using advanced sensor arrays. That's a huge shift from just a few years ago, when studying UFOs was academic career suicide.
So what do you think this means for humanity's future? Are we approaching some kind of contact scenario?
Well, looking at the current trajectory, I think we're definitely in a transition period. The question isn't really, are they here anymore? It's, what happens next?
That's exactly right. We're moving from asking if these things exist to asking what they are and what they want.
And maybe that's the most profound shift of all. We're finally asking the right questions. The truth might be more incredible than anything we've imagined in our science fiction.
Well, almost anything. I still think the Hulk could take Superman.
And just like that, we're back where we started. Though I have to say, after this conversation, superhero fights seem a lot less interesting than what's actually happening in our skies.